Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Bits video. This is my personal car, a 2023 Volkswagen ID.4 Pro all-wheel drive. And I got it back in late December of 2025, if you don't know. And I have now put 10,000 miles or over 10,000 miles and in less than 5 months on it. And yeah, I'm going to show you the details of what's changed, what's happened along the way. And it is actually now has a battery recall, which is somewhat concerning, but I'm going to go over that here in a little bit too. So join me as I talk about my experience with the ID.4.
Are you guys looking for an opportunity to drive off in a brand new electric vehicle and support a nonprofit fighting for a greener planet? Well, I've got the program for you. Our friends at the CCAN Action Fund are back with their 8th annual EV raffle program, and it is so much fun. I'm going to tell you why you've got to enter. Each ticket gives you 3 chances to enter, and the prizes are absolutely amazing. You could win in the first prize a Rivian, a Porsche, or a Lucid up to $115,000, which is a ton of electric car. The second prize is also awesome. Rivian R2, highly anticipated, or you could choose from a Volkswagen ID Buzz or a Hyundai Ioniq as well. And there's even a third prize, which is the fantastic new Chevy Bolt. Each ticket costs only $200. Again, 3 chances to win with each purchase, and you're supporting a nonprofit. What's not to love? I don't even know which one I would choose if I was able to win. So ditch the high gas prices if you happen to win, and you support a nonprofit along the way. It's a great opportunity to visit evraffle.org to enter. Thanks so much to CCAN Action Fund for sponsoring this video. They even cover state and federal taxes.
Now, for a quick backstory for those of you who don't know, this was, like I said, picked up in December of 25. But we have a video documenting me picking it up at the dealer Recharged in Richmond, Virginia, which exclusively does used EVs, or pretty much exclusively, like plug-in hybrids and that. The quick and interesting portion of this is I picked this car up with 46,000 miles. It was new around 47 to 46,000. And I got it for $19,300, which is insane. If like in 2.5, 3 years, 60% degradation on a car that is still in phenomenal shape, relatively low mileage, that is absolutely wild. And that's really the reason I went for this car specifically. Ioniq 5s, Model Ys are still in the upper 20s, and this being sub 20 just made so much sense to me. While the range is not the best, and the charging is not the best, charging is really solid on this, above 70–80%, and it has plenty enough range, and the all-wheel drive is fantastic, and the build quality from German engineering is fantastic. Just a lot of little things to add up to make this an incredible used value for the size of the vehicle. This is, of course, all-wheel drive with 295 horsepower, all those things. So very, very cool for the value there. And we'll try to link the pickup video that I made of this car in the description below. But let's move on to, after 10,000 miles, what do I think about the vehicle and what has happened along the way? Well, basically, not a whole lot in terms of maintenance has changed or happened with this car. But ID.4s are known to be notorious for chewing through rear tires because it is a primary rear-driven axle. And so all of your torque and regen likes to happen back here. These tires were basically new 10,500 miles ago, and let's see if I can get a clearer shot of where they're at now. I'm trying to find a wear indicator. And it is a little more worn in the center than on the outside, but more or less, that's my pinky, and that's all the tread we have. So there's a little bit more there. But honestly, it's pretty worn already. Like there's not, like if I wanted to grab hold of that, it's pretty thin. There's not a ton there. Yeah, there's a decent shot. But more or less, I would say 15,000 miles is really all I'm getting out of these rear tires. And of course, this is a staggered setup. I believe it's 2 55s on the rear, and then 2 55s on the rear and 2 35s on the front. So I cannot rotate them. The fronts are in much better shape, even though there's steering, but I can put a lot more in there. I mean, it doesn't look so much on camera, but it's pretty substantial. When I grab a hold of the tire, you can feel a lot more is there. There's a lot more tread left. So that is something to be aware of with this car. But outside of that, it has been an incredible vehicle for the money. The one thing I would note here that I think is pretty important is Recharged does their own kind of battery capacity analysis to see how healthy the battery is, how much it's been DC fast charged and all that. This car was at about 6% degradation when I initially took delivery of it. After 10 or so thousand miles, I'm a little confused because I was originally seeing about 4,000 miles ago, 7% degradation. And so let's look at specific numbers. So 75 kilowatt hours is what the battery had total, and that was about 69 to 70 usable. The original new spec is 77 kilowatt hours. So it's a little off there. Numbers don't exactly match up. And now I've done my own OBD scanner stuff. But now the estimate total energy in the battery has gone from 75 to 71 kilowatt hours, which is a massive amount of loss in 10,500 miles. And so now it seems like the usable that is claimed by the OBD reader is 64.5 to 65 kilowatt hours, which is a massive loss. It's kind of weird. I don't know, because when you drive the car, sometimes it is showing, as I'm using the energy and you do the math yourself, it's looking like you're still going to get 68 to 69 kilowatt hours, but it doesn't always add up. So it's kind of hard to say whether that's being completely honest or not. It's kind of strange there. I haven't fully figured that one out. Of course, I'll update you guys if much changes with that. But the other thing that I am actually about to tomorrow go take this to the dealer to get a battery recall done. I made a whole video on this a month or 2 months ago, but basically what this means is there's manufacturing defects similar to what the Bolt had, but not as severe if you have this particular recall. There's two separate recalls. One is very severe and only has like 600 vehicles affected. This one is much less. There's a good chance you don't even have an issue, but if you do, it basically means it can short itself to where it'll drain and can eventually, cause thermal runaway, theoretically, in very rare circumstances. But this is, as of right now, not nearly as severe as the Chevy Bolt situation was. But I am going to get the recall done so that is done, and I'll update you guys if anything changes with the battery or behaviors that I see too. But other than that, just got a massive crack in the windshield, which, has nothing to do, except for that just happens when you drive sometimes. And I would say one of the biggest things that was a problem when I actually took delivery of this car is a GPS antenna module type of issue, which basically means the car does not know whether or not it has, or it doesn't know its location. So the GPS module essentially thinks that it is somewhere around you within like 200 miles. Sometimes it's much further. As of recent, it seems to stay within a certain distance around you, but it really has no idea where you're at. So that means if you hook your car up to Android Auto, it will try to say your GPS is somewhere else, which is a big pain. If you try to navigate to a charger because your battery's low, it will try to navigate you from where it thinks you are. So if I'm here in Roanoke Rapids at the beautiful track, it thinks I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then wants me to navigate to a charger that doesn't exist where I'm at. It's extremely frustrating. I've taken it to Volkswagen multiple times. They just give me BS answers and say, well, it's an issue on Verizon's side and we don't really know and there's nothing else we can do. And essentially all they do in the service is remove a fuse, leave it outside for a few hours, put the fuse back in, and then it resets it just long enough for it to work for a couple of days. That is all they are doing and all they're willing to do. And Volkswagen has not been willing to put a recall on this or anything to remedy that issue, which is fundamental. I mean, GPS on a modern day car is like a huge thing that every car has to have in order to even work. I would say that's a pretty massive failure on Volkswagen's part for sure. But I have been able to work around it by turning Android Auto or GPS, or you probably do this with Apple CarPlay, GPS off on your phone so that it won't try to share the data from the car to your phone and confuse it. Now let's get to some data, some out of spec style data. Now, this is my efficiency since I got it. Obviously, it was cold when I bought it, so most of the miles are still in the freezing cold temperatures, but this is not a very efficient vehicle coming from a Chevy Bolt, I will say. We have done 10,000, let's just say 10,300 miles, and average 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour in that. And if you multiply that times the battery capacity, range is not the best. I mean, there's no doubt of that, but it is about the same as my Chevy Bolt before it, and it has far and away better charging, and it's a much more comfortable road tripper, so it is still a huge improvement for me personally. The winter time, you do notice you don't have battery preconditioning, but it's still, even cold, this battery will charge faster and better by a long shot than the Bolt's battery, so that is still a massive improvement. Some more fun and playful stuff that, if you haven't seen my first video picking this car up, you might find this pretty hilarious. I made a frunk for the ID.4 that does not have one. This also goes to a small subwoofer that I have in here. This is not the best cutout. I was kind of getting impatient, but it was fine. You're never really going to see it. It's just meant to be practical. This is from a person out of, I think it's Durham, if I'm remembering correctly, that sells a kit where you can kind of cut out and get a mounting bracket that's a 3D bracket that goes down here, right here, that this actually sits on, and then you can take your own container, cut it out, and put it on there. And you get a small frunk, which is, you know, I think that's pretty cool. And in terms of just little things I've noticed or have changed since I've gotten the car, this was here when I bought the car. This door particularly has a bit of a weird vibration. Something's like unclipped or loose inside of the door here. So if we listen, you can hear kind of a tinging that you hear when you shut the door, that on this door and all of these other back doors, you don't hear any of that. I'm trying to get a good position, hold on. There we go. So you don't really get that at all. So something's going on with that door. They refused to fix it because they said it was outside of the 2-year, like literally every rattle and squeak warranty, which I didn't know there was a difference. It was still technically in the bumper to bumper warranty, but because it wasn't like actually a broken major thing, I don't know. They've been giving me the runaround, but either way, the only other thing is this has started to form quite a bit of condensation. So right now it's not so bad, but at times I've seen this with this many water beads kind of come all the way out to here, and on almost the same on either side or both sides. So that's something going on. But again, this car being used, those are nitpicky items. I just know the out of spec crowd appreciates all the details, but I of course am extremely pleased with this for the price. I mean, that's where you have to reiterate what you're getting for the price is pretty nuts. I mean, it's a very comfortable, quiet vehicle. This new was, I mean, upper $40,000 to what it is now is insane. So really incredible. Thank you for joining for a little bit of an update on the ID.4, I guess new to the family here at Out of Spec. But that's all the major stuff I have for now, and I'll keep you guys updated if anything changes with the recall or if anything happens along the way, of course. I will probably be getting new rear tires and might be getting new everything and just put something specific that I want on here over the next few months. Time will tell, but yeah, thank you for joining on another Out of Spec Bits video, and I'll see you again in another one soon.